Instagram's going live. All right. Here we go.
All right.
Welcome to Driven for Health podcast, episode 90. And on today's episode, I have Albert Butler. This guy is busy, capital Busy. He's got 4 kids, just the same as I. He owns and is partner of a CPA firm. So this guy is leveraging not only his health, but his wealth, and he's creating financial stability for a lot of men, such as myself, that are interested in wealth creation. And we're going to go into that, a man's legacy around health and wealth and what that actually means for you. You'll have some actionable tips and tricks and takeaways from our conversation, but I really want you to dive into the story of where Albert's at and where I'm at and identify yourself in this journey of making sure that you have wealth, but in many different facets, from, of course, monetarily, and you don't have to work until you're 80 or something, but also in what wealth means for your family relationships and your own personal health. Albert, welcome to our conversation.
Brian, I will tell you that your intro is A1. That's amazing. I really, really thank you so much for crushing that just now. And for your audience, I hope that as we talk and we can resonate from the perspective of those needs that men need. I think that's a critical piece of it. And I say men first because the men is that leader of that family, because that's critical for everyone to try to lead off and be able to handle that position, because also what men and family need and the wife needs and the woman needs, all
Mhm.
those are very, very critical across the board to properly identify. So I hope this conversation can resonate. One thing about me, I'm extremely relentless. And once I set my mind to something, I am dialed in because I want to give,
Yep.
give, give in a very
Yeah.
powerful and passionate type of way. So thank you, Brian, for the intro.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I noticed on our pre-interview. We talked prior to this conversation here, and I knew you were hot to trot and ready to share some really good things and get men to take action for themselves, most importantly, but then those people around them, because it matters. And if you don't have those people around you, if you're not leading them, then you're going to be sad and lonely.
That's it.
And it's going to cost a lot of time, energy, and money if things break down once you, separate, and we don't want that at all.
That's right.
What is one powerful takeaway that guys need to listen into for our conversation?
I would hope that your audience can truly dial in on what I call the thesis of life. Now, what does that really mean? Well, you have to document, both written and internally, your who, your what, your when, your where, your why, your how. Document these things down. And when you do, you'll be amazed at what jumps off the paper, because this is a very personal process what you would go through. It's a framework that I call as well the one word SWAT, where you take the time and identify a strength, a weakness, an opportunity, and a threat to who you really are. That's your current state. So I would love for the men on this listen to this call right now. Sit down, get a piece of paper out, make it personal. Do your thesis of life and really identify who you really are.
That is so powerful. I have a training that this totally reminds me of. I call it the Vision Cast. It's something that I did way back in 2015 when I was separating from the gym owner lifestyle for 5 years. That was my identity. I was a CrossFit business owner, and then I was parting ways with that model of operating. And what am I going to do next? Am I going to sell DirecTV and Sam's Club?
Right.
No way. I quickly passed on that opportunity really quick. And I realized I have to figure this out. And I have to understand, okay, what is it that I love doing? What am I passionate about? How do I serve the world best? And the last, since 2015, so that's 11 years, I've been solo on help coach thousands of people all over the US and beyond. And the Vision Cast starts to identify who you are, what you are, why you are doing it. And it allows you to start to fast forward into what it is that you want to create. If anyone's interested in Vision Cast, just email me, Brian at brianprana.com, and I'll send it over to you. But you literally need 2+ hours of just isolation and focused effort on it. So I love that. That is a strong start, because if you understand your purpose and your why, then you can put passion behind it, and everything else goes and falls along with it. Now, in our prior conversation, we talked about some of the things that start showing up for men in their 40s through 60s. And I was like, oh my gosh, we definitely have to share this with the
Yes.
guys listening in. So paint the picture for what these guys are actually living in and starting to feel those different types of pressures showing up in their life now.
Brian, I can't paint that picture without giving a real story, and I'm going to be real personal with your audience.
Good.
My father died in 2015,
Oh, wow.
and I made it an effort to pull myself together and give his eulogy. As I gave his eulogy and I was drafting of what I was going to say, it just really just hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, between 40 and 60, life really takes place. Life really
Mhm.
happens for you. Men, women, humans, the human experience really kicks off, and you better be prepared for it. So
Very
as I
much so.
documented it and I started writing, and I pulled myself up and I walked up to that stage and got in front of that podium and stood in front of an audience of I don't even know how many people. And I passionately told them that when you turn 40, certain things start to change in life. Hopefully you still have your health and you're still strong at 40. But you're going to start to notice that your parents are either they're getting older, or they're leaving you. Your children, they're getting older, and they're getting ready to leave off and go often into to either college or join the workforce themselves, become
And they're
adults.
getting into their real life.
You personally are going through things. This is probably around the time between 40 and 60 where you're making the most money you've ever made before. And you got to understand how to manage that the right way. Or you are changing jobs. You're starting over. You're doing a hard pivot because you realize that
Mhm.
what you've been doing is really not what you really wanted to be doing. And you decide that you want to make that change. Between 40 and 60, those years are so critical. And if you put it in perspective, you live through your 20s and you think you're almost invulnerable. You get to 30 and you realize, oh, I need to do this life thing kind of the right way. I got to take care of some bills, and I probably went and got married and I got a new kid, or all life things starts happening a little bit. But then when you turn 40 and you can kind of feel on the inside, you might be slowing down a little bit. And that 40 to 50 window, things really start opening up. And then 50 to 60 is like, wow, you start scratching your head and you start looking back and see how much time has gone past. And it goes by like that, like a blink of an eye.
Right.
Brian, I'll tell you that that is the window of time that a man really has to bear down on his true foundation of who he really is. And I tell people all the time that when you sow a seed, the seed grows down first, then it grows up. You have to go down first and have a strong foundation, because when that wind starts to blow, when the turbulence kicks up, when the heartache start kicking in, you got to find peace in every situation. Because if you don't, you can definitely wind up going off the rails. So I tell
Mhm.
you, between 40 and 60, you have to make sure that your foundation is strong.
I absolutely love that. And I can see that mimicking in my life. When I was 20, the hardest question I had was, how far am I going to run today? I was an endurance athlete. I was running, I was doing marathons. Well, let's do a double workout. Why not? I got nothing else to do. I was personal training and teaching group exercise at the time. So life was great. And then I transitioned into actually ownership. So around 2010, I had my almost second kid. By the end in December was my second kid, about 15 months apart, Levi and Everett. Then I got into ownership of business. I was like, okay, I need to step up. I can't just be a personal trainer because I can't necessarily provide for my family unless I'm working all hours of the gym that it's open. So I'm a shift into business ownership. And from age 25 to 30-ish was an interesting ride. There's a lot of learning, but a
That's
young
right.
vigor pushing through some of the challenges. Then episode, I want to say it was 59. I jump into a little bit of some of the more personal story of Brian through that. Yeah, it was 59 of the personal story of what I went through there. But then in 30s, I've got four kids and I'm into literally a solopreneur and thinking about actual wealth creation. And at that point, we pay off my wife's college debt. We've got moved into our second house, and we're really establishing what life is looking like, where our kids are going to school. We literally moved to get them into a different school district and positioning ourselves for the next decade or 20 years, basically, of getting through that child rearing age. And it's been really fun, a lot of success travel. Kids are doing really well in school and thriving in extracurricular activities, which is wonderful. But now I'm 43 and I've got some deep roots, but man, that wind of job is
It's
shaking.
turbulent,
And
man.
oh man, and I feel it in so many different ways, from the current economic and we'll just say political environment is turbulent, to technology. We're in the state of AI, and it is, if you're using it and aware. I just read something recently from Stephen Bartlett of the Diary of CEO that that only maybe like 5% of the whole entire earth is actually aware and using AI. So technically I'm still ahead of the game in a sense, but I feel so far behind,
Hmm.
and I have to produce and I have to create. And my life has become a content creator in a sense rather than a health coach. And I'm just trying to keep up. So I feel the technology piece. I feel that my kids, my oldest is 16 now, and he is, as far as my wife's concerned, he's already left the house. Right. So I'm
Right.
dealing with that and any of the challenges of taking kids through their teenage years. It feels like that 10 to 12 age, 13 age range, they're turds. They're giving a run for your money
That's
and
it.
pushing and poking and prodding and seeing what they can get away with. And screens, oh my gosh, if you have little kids, screens are a big issue. And that is a prevalent issue in our household amongst many others of guys that I talk to that have young kids. How do we manage that? And then we get into, I'd like to retire at some point. But even 2 days ago, my garage door broke. The spring broke, and next thing you know, $415 later is a service call. And
Right.
a couple months ago, my well pump didn't break, and that was $2,000. Guy was in and out of my house in 30 minutes with a
Right.
$2,000 check because he could sell me. He could get water in my house in a fast time. So 2K, here we go. So it's like, man, ownership and responsibility and wealth creation and providing for my family is feels really hard for me. And unfortunately, I
Yes.
don't have my father. He's not around. He's here, but he's not involved. And so I am solo in a sense. I don't have any elders in a sense in my life helping guide or give wisdom or that just the proximity. And so you're spelling some of the things that I'm feeling right now. And I have to imagine my audience is because I literally talk to a bunch of 40 to 50-year-old guys all the time. And that's why they're overweight, because I haven't been paying attention to their health.
That's it. Yes. We sacrifice our health
Yep.
because of it,
Right.
Brian.
Yeah.
Everything that you just explained is so layered and so real for all men going through this realm, that you have to be able to run that football and keep your head down and just grind on through it and
Right.
grind on through it. And I tell you, sometimes I sit back in my office and I look out the window with my arms crossed, thinking to myself and challenging myself and pondering to myself, am I doing self?
Yeah.
Am I doing self? Because if
Right.
I'm not doing self, I'm losing my own identity of who I actually am as a person.
Right.
So When everything that you just explained, those are your responsibilities. But guess what, Brian? You got broad shoulders for a reason.
I
You're
lift
strong.
weights
That's
to
right. We're
carry
men for
load.
reasons, and we bear this. But
Right.
let me tell you, and I want your audience to hear this very clearly. It's okay to not be okay.
Hmm.
It's okay to need somebody to talk to. It's okay to be open and transparent,
Right.
because if you hold all of that stuff in, all those worries, all those concerns, anxiety builds up. And there's a
Right.
little something that sits on your shoulder that tells you, are you really good enough?
Right.
Can you really handle this? Are you really cutting it? Are you doing right by your kids? Are you doing right by your wife that you stood before everybody and said that you was going to love and protect for life?
Right. Hmm.
And if that little voice gets inside your head, it's talking to your soul, Brian. It's talking to your soul and it's trying to mold your soul a different type of way. So you have to be strong enough to push that voice aside and say, I am good enough. I am strong enough. I got this. I
Yeah.
was built for it. And nobody's going to take it away from me. God wouldn't have put me in this position to champion this effort if I couldn't do it. So I'm
Yeah.
going to push through and I'm going to do it. And I'll tell you, I go a little bit further. My dad was a real good dude. I have to be very honest. He sometimes would tell me some stuff that I wasn't ready for and I was too young for. But outside of that, he was a great dude, and he would give me this type of advice when I was
Right.
younger that
Right.
I didn't realize how important it was going to be until he was gone. Because you're
Right.
right. I would love to be able to pick the phone up and just have a conversation with him
Right.
to say, hey, how am I doing? Because he was my gut check.
Right.
But now I'm my gut check.
Right.
And I have to make sure that I stay consistent in checking myself, because I'm not perfect. None of us are. And none
No.
of us can be expected to be. But
Right.
and we can go off the rails. But it's okay to give yourself a gut check. And it's okay to have a nucleus of buddies to talk to. And watch this,
Right.
Brian. It's okay to talk to your wife.
Yeah.
It's okay to talk to your girlfriend. It's okay to talk to that person that God actually put in your life as well, too, because they're the ones that's gonna actually help encourage you,
Right.
help pat you on the back, help pat you on the head and say, go get him, Tiger. I tell you, Brian, if my wife just can say, go get him, Albert, guess what? I'm going through a brick wall. And
Oh yeah.
it's I
Instant
got it. I
energy.
mean,
Let's
it's
go.
so real. It's so
Yeah.
real and so powerful.
Uh-huh.
So I encourage even the women that listen to this podcast, understand that you have that level of power that you need to encourage your guy if you want
Right.
him to be a great guy.
Right.
Because you need him to be a great guy for you and for your family. Because without him,
Right.
guess what? You're exposed. Without her, guys, you're exposed. And
Yes.
that's why that nucleus is so important and so powerful. And I encourage guys, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay to be open and okay to be transparent. It's
Right.
okay. Watch this. I'm gonna go once before I let this go.
Let's do it.
It's okay to cry.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
okay to cry. You know why? You know what crying does? Crying is a natural release of the body of emotion, both good and bad. And if you hold it in, you can explode. You
Right.
ever had to pee and then go pee and how it feel?
Oh
It's like
yeah.
you're
It's
about to
like
pop.
painful. Yeah.
It's
You're just like,
painful.
ah. Yeah.
You ever ran and you didn't sweat? Sweating is also a natural release of the body.
Right.
It's a part of the system that you have to take place. So gentlemen, men, it's okay to cry. It's okay. 100%.
I love this. I haven't had a good cry in a while. It's been a little minute, but I can feel one maybe coming on. But one of the things that you talk about is communicating, being open, and even myself, I need to do a better job of that, of communicating to myself and being open and honest about who I am, what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, because I'm spending a lot of time doing certain things that I think are in the best interest of myself, but also of the sphere of influence, my wife, Amber, my four kids, Levi, Everett, Maxwell, and Emmeline, my immediate circle of friends and family, my extended clients, and then everyone that I'm trying to reach out through, say, this podcast. And I have to make sure that I have some open communication with myself about, am I actually doing the right things, or am I wasting time and energy that is fruitless ultimately? But then even having conversation with my wife, I could do a lot better of it is sometimes in this stage of life, you feel like your roommates and there's not a lot of connection because there's not even a lot of time. She and I are
Yes.
both independent solopreneurs. She has her own travel business, sends people on bucket list trips, but that costs time and energy to have someone plop down in London and then they shoot out through Paris, but they went to Rome and Athens as well on that trip or something, right?
Hmm.
And so that takes a lot of time and energy from her, and I have to respect that she has her own career and business and things that she wanted aspiration for herself. But then I have to also assist and help as best I can, whether it's making dinner or changing the laundry or handling the garage door and making sure my next one is handling taxes, which we'll
That's
get to
it.
some wealth stuff here at some
Right.
point. But yeah, that's on my list of endlessly what will feel like endless categorizations in QuickBooks because that's where I'm at right now. But I need to get that done in the next 2 weeks so that my accountant doesn't hate me
That's it.
come April. So I have to think about him too and his needs and all. But I feel that I acknowledge that, and I'm grateful that you're calling these things out. Now, speaking of that a little bit further, some of the things that are making you really think about where am I at in life? So you've had a health scare, and
Mhm.
that has caused real reflection in you about what you do, how you take care of yourself, how you're spending time with yourself, but your family and everything else.
So Brian, it's funny because I've always been a pretty fit guy.
Yeah.
And you think back like high school was yesterday, and I was that guy. I played
Yeah.
football, played
Right.
baseball, ran track, all that great stuff, and you carry that on into your next years. Like I said, between that those 20s, you're invincible,
Right. Right.
But and in that process, I was always a runner as well too. I would try to go out and get some miles in, and so I can feel good and just really felt great in that environment. But lo and behold, as I got older, um, I started to slow down, and I'm trying to figure out why. And it got to a point where I went from jogging. I'm sorry, I went from running to jogging to just walking, not being able to walk upstairs. My calf muscle was feeling like it was swelling up like a balloon on my right side every time I would extend myself or exert myself a little bit too far. And I would sit back and wait for a little bit and it'll go down. I try to go back and pursue more, and I'll start, we'll put cream on it to try to numb the pain away, take some
Right.
Tylenol to try to keep on pushing through.
Right.
But all that stuff wasn't really working, and it only got worse to the point where I couldn't even park in the grocery store parking lot too far and then walk to the front door of the grocery store. And I'm like, this is getting to be ridiculous. I finally went to a vascular surgeon, and they did a scan. Come to find out, I had a narrowing order. My main artery in my right leg was narrowing down, and my blood flow was basically it was like 80% clogged.
Right.
And I'm like, where would this even come from? And all he could tell me was potentially is genetic. And normally my calf was hurting me, but he says that you normally feel the pain one joint below where the problem really is.
Yeah, upstream or downstream, and
Yes.
that's just something important for anyone listening in is that yeah, my knee hurts, but is it calf or ankle related, or is it
Yes.
quad hip related or low back related? Because it might be referred pain coming from upstream or downstream, and that's important to know. Just throwing that out there for our
Yes.
listeners.
And the big piece of it too is vascular related, which was my case.
Yep.
And as I had to go in to go have this surgery, again, it's just very, very reflective of we're not going to be here forever. And
Hmm.
outside of the physical side of it, the mental side of it, the thought process of what am I doing, the thesis of life, like I mentioned before, um, and understanding, what am I really good at, what am I weak at, what's my real opportunity in life right now, and what's the threat that I can make sure not going to stop me from doing it. I want to get on the ball in relation to it.
Hmm.
And it was just a lot. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was terrified going through the
No,
process.
yeah, sure. Like, wait a minute here.
Yes,
This is a real
just
issue that
Yes.
complicates my livelihood, my lifestyle, and
Yes.
potentially my overall health and well-being.
If the zombies come, I can't run from them.
Yeah, exactly. It
So
doesn't matter which version of the zombie. You get the super fast ones like World War
that's
Z,
right.
or you get the Walking Dead ones that are
That's
right.
it.
You're
That's
you're
it.
you're goner either way.
So my whole prep package had to change, man. I had to rethink that as well too. But it's a real thing. As a man, you need to make sure you go to the doctor. That's what I'm trying to get here to come full circle. Make sure you
Yep.
go to the doctor. Make sure you're getting your scans. Make sure you're communicating with your
Right.
doctor as well too. Don't hold that
Definitely.
in, because if you're not being exposed and just telling the truth, get that blood work done. Have your doctor not just run you through it. Go look up and see what those numbers really mean for yourself, because
Right.
every one of us are truly individuals. And when you go to the doctor, they look at stuff and it's in ranges. But I'm unique. You're unique. We're all
Right.
unique. Your whole audience, we're unique individuals.
Right.
And you need to understand your uniqueness, your puzzle, to make it make sense for you, so you can make sure you can take care of yourself, because you're the number one doctor for you. That's
Right.
the real piece of it.
Yeah, and
You're
you do have to advocate for yourself, because if
you
you
have
don't,
to. You
then
have to.
you are in our healthcare system. You're just another number.
Just
And
another number.
that's it. And if you don't advocate for yourself, or the unfortunate 15-minute window that you get with your primary health care physician, then yeah, it's you just get run through the system in a sense. Or here's a pill or whatever. And it's
Right.
unfortunate. It's got nothing to do with the doctors. It's got everything to do with how we set the system up in the first place.
And that's a
So
whole nother
yeah,
podcast,
yeah, yeah.
Brian,
We're
that
not
we
going
could
down
definitely
that
go
road,
into,
but
because man, I'll
yeah,
tell you
that's
audience
out of
this.
scope for us.
I'm not just a CPA, also I'm an auditor, and I actually audit healthcare systems. And I can tell you
Okay.
a whole plethora of interesting things from that regard. But just a little piece
Oh well.
of tidbit. Guys, take a notepad with you when you go to the doctor. Have your questions ready to go, because they're
Yeah.
busy too. They're busy too.
Yes.
Have your questions ready to go, and make sure you hit them and get the answers that you need.
Yeah. Let me see. As you're doing that, I'm gonna find. I had an episode of things to tell. Ask your doctor. Let me see if I can find that episode that I did, because I literally had it. So keep talking, and I'll
So
bring
that's
that
that's
up.
that's a
Oh, here
huge
it is.
piece.
It's 40, episode 49.
Mm,
13 must ask questions to stop getting meds when you go to the doctors, so that you can advocate for yourself. So episode
yes.
49 is where you can have a laundry list of questions that you ask your doctor, that you go prepared. And even to the point of, we talk about leveraging technology and AI, you can actually brain dump into ChatGPT and run your whole health history and your family genetics, and then that will spit out questions that are more pertinent and relevant for you in and of itself, to be able to ask the doctor when you go. And that could be that's a higher level way to have a better, deeper conversation that will actually advocate for yourself in that situation. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is advocating for yourself. So
You're
excellent
100%
point.
correct. 100% correct, Brandon. I'll tell you, I actually printed out all of my 10-year worth of health results, th- threw it on a scanner to send it straight over into an AI, and just had it tell me every aspect of what's going
Right.
on. What I can ask pointed questions,
Right.
because I'm a CPA. I'm not a doctor. I spend my
Oh yeah.
time in numbers, and all
Right.
this. This is the space that I'm in. Not a doctor to understand all the intricacies there, but I need to be educated before I walk in the
Right.
door to go talk to someone who is educated in this space,
Yes.
to have an educated and true
Exactly.
logical conversations that can give me results that I need.
Exactly. Exactly. Just like me going into my accountant and say, "Well, what do I owe for taxes?" I'm like, Brian, you didn't categorize anything in QuickBooks yet. Like, oh yeah, I haven't wanted to do that, so I haven't done it, and that's why we're here. I digress.
I hear a pain in there, Brian. I hear a pain. We,
Well,
we can transition there and talk about it, but I hear a
man,
pain that's in there.
I if I'm gonna be honest here, I took over taxes. I did taxes the first time in my life when I was 41.
Oh
I'd
wow.
never done it
Yes.
before that. My wife said, "I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore."
Yeah.
And, and then she handed it over to me. and I have just not the most exciting back end entrepreneur work. I'd much rather just talk. Even
Yes.
having a hard time, I'm trying to actually get a internship with a student from my alumni at the University of Akron to help create social media content. So we'll have this episode all chopped up, clipped up, but I'm
Right.
already like 8 episodes ahead by the time I'm ready to post those, and I don't know what to post them. And this is interesting, and so where I need to delegate, but I'm so focused on my thing. Some people might be able to see this, but these are just the images of
Yes.
clipped shots for my social reels
Yes.
that Substack did when I recorded myself talking. There's 20. I don't know what to do with them. I mean, I do inherently know what to do with them. I need to post them, but to
Yes.
post all of those is going to take, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours. I'd rather just get on a new conversation and keep moving forward. But that also is a problem of not harvesting all the you know the juice of the lemon, in a sense, to be able to use it for all the lemonade that it can make. And
Yes.
I'm already on to the next lemon and barely squeezed the first one. So yeah, I need to leverage and I need to delegate, and that's some of this year. I did get an accountant and a financial guy, so I've leveraged those, and it has saved a lot. We went to an S corp, and that saved a substantial amount of money
Hmm.
on taxes from LLC. So that was a really good advice and pivot. But yeah, there's a little bit of pain there.
So I hear it, and it's not just a pain; it's a strain. Actually, it's a strain in there. And Brian,
Yeah.
I would love to transition in and start talking more a little bit more business centric.
Yeah, let's do it.
Um,
This is a good transition. So we
yes,
get
yes,
health, and then we need to take care of our wealth. And this is why the reason I had you on in the first place is because we haven't spoken about to a CPA or anything about money. That's just sure, I like it and I want more of it to
yeah,
live the lifestyle that I want. But as far as like education or awareness, I understand money, but as we see the strain of taxes on my face and my body language
yeah,
here and my language that I'm using with words. I don't necessarily understand it to the degree that it could because I'm so focused on my subject matter expertise. So yeah, let's transition into why wealth is important to your health and your longevity as just being a successful provider, successful in life on many different fronts. So let's take it
Here,
away. I'll
here's
let you
where it's
lead.
very, very difficult, Brian. Every word that I hear you saying is that you have a strain in a space that you
Yeah,
don't do on a regular basis.
exactly.
Brian, I can cut my grass at my house,
Yep.
but I don't. You know
Right.
why I don't,
Me neither.
Brian? The first time I cut the grass at my house, it took me 3 hours.
Yeah. I got 2 acres here, so I feel you.
And there was a guy who came by my house and said, "Hey, man, I can cut this grass for you, and it'll be a reasonable cost." I'm like, "Okay, dude, cut my grass in 14 minutes."
Ooh,
You know
yeah. Mine's in
why?
and out in about 30, 40 with 2 0 turns and a three
That's
man
it.
crew.
He brought a
Yep.
team. He
Yeah.
brought a team with him and knocked it out. And I was so pleased. You know why? Because my time
Oh, yeah.
needs to be spent on what I do,
Right.
not the other stuff that I don't do.
Right.
So, another example, I can change the oil in my car, but I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have
Mm-hmm.
time for that. I don't have the tools for it. I don't want to try to find somewhere to dispose the oil,
Right.
none of that stuff. So, I let
Right.
somebody else do it. And I say all of that because as a founder, solopreneur is great. Here's where it's not, and I'm gonna be very transparent with you. You can't do everything. You
Right.
just can't. You just
Yep.
can't. You're gonna have to patch on resources around you to make sure that you can still
Right.
progress and grow and develop and scale. So
Right.
I have a framework that I share with all my clients, especially my business clients. It's called the 5 muscles of enterprise.
Okay.
Those 5 muscles: leadership, operations, sales, IT infrastructure, and accounting, the heartbeat of it all.
All makes sense.
You have to take time to flex those 5 muscles so you can make a fist and you can punch the market. If you
Yes.
Don't flex those muscles and work them to make them strong, and you're going to get exposed. And the areas that you're going to get exposed in are going to cost you a lot of money of catch up. I'm saying
Yeah.
of catch up
Or
because
lost opportunity.
lost opportunity, lost opportunity. And I'm going to say it that way because as the leader, you need to understand not just what you know, but what you don't know.
Right.
And stepping back and saying, you know what, I need somebody to help me with operations. I just need it. I'm not very good at it. I know what I want to do. I have a
Oh
vision
man.
and I have a mission
Yeah.
that I want to try to accomplish. So I have to go and find someone
If I could have a
from a,
brand manager, holy
that's it.
moly.
That's it.
Man,
From
hey,
even
just tell me which way Brian's headed
what,
today and we're full go.
and we're good. And
Yeah.
you need that person, because if you don't have that person, it's all trapped up here, and you're trying
Yeah.
to get it out and make it happen to be
Right.
functional inside of it. Well, you
Hmm.
can't do that. You need
Right.
to have somebody who has a understand sales.
Right.
If I can make the pen that I want to go sell, but I don't know how to sell it, well, I just went
Right.
out of business. So
Yes.
it just kills it right
Right.
there,
Right.
because we
I'm a
are in
good
a data world.
salesman in a sense, but I need to be able to market. And if I can't market
If I
myself
can't
properly, I
market,
can't sell. And even
you
if I
can't
had
sell.
someone to market myself and then I can sell and then I can fulfill, I'm really great at fulfilling. I'm really great at doing this interview and these podcasts and creating content, but I can't sit back and post the thing
And
because it
post
takes
it.
too much
Take too
brainwave
much.
and
Take too much
you have
time.
20 minutes to post a 30-second reel. Like,
That's
what's
right.
going
That's
on
right.
here? Like, this is, I
You,
can do it. It's not
but
my most favorite activity to do.
and not at all. But and the key part that you just said, you can do it, and that's the
Right.
part what I was mentioning, flexing those five muscles.
Right.
You have to know the components inside the business, because even if you hire somebody, how you know they're doing a good
Right.
job? So you have to be
Right.
able to understand it and then be
Hmm.
able to monitor the execution of it.
Right.
And that's when you add the people on top of it, or AI tools on top
Amen.
of it.
Yeah. Well, you
So
need both.
you
Ultimately,
need
you need
both.
someone that knows how to leverage the AI tools, and
That's
then
it.
that's going to be the next step of
Well,
what I
that is the
get
next
this.
step, because I was going to talk
Yeah.
about IT
Hmm.
infrastructure. You got to
Yeah.
have that, because your
Right.
data is so important. Because if you leave
Right.
that exposed, and and bad actors are there, it's very, very real. Data,
Oh
data,
yeah.
data. We're in a data driven world at this point. You have to be able to control it, protect it, and use it efficiently, or
Right.
you're going to get exposed there too. And then the
Right.
last one, accounting. Accounting is the heartbeat of all of this. I have
Yeah.
a
Money
saying that
in, money out.
money accounting is the heartbeat of business and is the key to personal finance success. It is the key,
Yes.
because if you don't have an understanding of how the balancing of accounting takes place, because it's not just about money, it's about transactions. And
Right.
then in these transactions, equilibrium takes place, a balancing takes place, equivalent exchange takes place. The credit cycle in our whole country takes place, because every time I go get a loan, there's money I'm going to take, and I'm going to invest. I'm going to go and use for operations, and that money that I'm using also is going to turn into payroll for the people that I'm paying. That
Right.
cycle has to continue, because if it does stop, we stop, our state stops, our government stops, our country stops. It's that
Hmm.
important. That money cycle has to take place. So understanding those five muscles of enterprise are critical for any entrepreneur. And I'm go one step further. They're critical for any person who has a household that they're trying to run. Because just like you run a business, you're going to run a household. And just like you run your household, you're going to run yourself. So when it all
Hmm.
comes back down to it, it's about the individual inwardly understanding where they are. Again, going back to our original comment, the thesis of life. It all comes right back to
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Yeah, look at that, pulling it all together. Love
That's
it.
it,
But
man.
what are those five muscles again that we need to be flexing? We got leadership is the first one.
Number one, leadership. That's the founder. That's the owner. That's the person who has the vision, the mission, the idea of what they want to go and do. Number two is operations. You got to be able to operate, to be able to build, create, and have the product that you want to take out to the world. Number three is sales. You got to have somebody to give that product or service out to the marketplace to see if it's something that the marketplace even wants. So you can come back and make it better, and then give it back out to make those sales to generate the revenue that you need. Number four, IT infrastructure. It's again critical to make sure that your system is solid across the board, that you are protected, that you can use your data to make sure that data can generate what you need on a consistent basis and is readily available to you, and you don't have any bad actors coming in to tamper with that data. And number five, the one that's passionate to my heart, accounting, the heartbeat of it all. Every transaction, every decision, every opportunity, every move comes through the accounting department because of the equivalent exchange of it all. So, all the data, all the sales, all the operations, and the vision from the leader comes through the accounting department right back to the
Hmm.
middle to make sure the information is being messaged the right way. I tell
Right.
people all the time, accounting is the fortune teller, accounting is the messenger. Accounting tells the story. It tells the past through financial reporting and your taxes. It tells the present through the treasury function for your cash flow to keep your lights on and to make your payroll, or even from a household perspective, to make sure all your bills get paid. That's the treasury function, is extremely important. And here's the best one: financial reporting. I'm sorry, FP&A, financial planning and analysis. This is the one that tells the world how great the business is. This is the one
Yeah.
that takes the data and be able to take all that past performance and then be able to push it out to tell the world, hey, this is what sales are going to be for this upcoming quarter. This is how we spent the money in this past quarter, how we project to spend the money in the next quarter. That's the budgeting that takes place. FP&A is so critical. So in that every aspect, accounting truly is the heartbeat of business and the
This
key
is great.
to personal
This is
finance
great.
success.
Excellent. I love this. Breaking it down for me, I find that some of my guests are speaking to me.
I am. That's this
Yeah.
this technology says that, hey, because we have such great technology, we're in the same room right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, yep. That's why I always joke with people. I'm not gonna two things I'm not doing for you. I'm not gonna cook your food. I'm not working out for you. But other than that, it doesn't really matter where I'm at or what I'm
That's it.
doing. We're having an active conversation about your health, your body, and your lifestyle. So this is excellent. What do you have a story that you can drop on us of a transition that you had from someone that for the guys to resonate that are listening in from some of them are business owners and doing really well, some of them are business owners and like and some of them are, aspire to be business owners, any one of those, tell a story that would resonate. I'm sure you
I
got
have,
plenty of them.
yes, it's a laundry list of stories, but I'm gonna go one step even personal. I'm gonna give you my own story.
Okay, even better.
I've been running this ball going on 27 years now.
Yep.
And the journey that I've gone on, I've been all over the world in this accounting space and learning how much accounting is the heartbeat of business. That I have had what I call bought sense, where I've had to learn lessons that have cost me a lot of money. While at the
Yep.
same time, I've had a lot of success when I had discernment in decisions that I've had to make when crossroads came up. And again, all of those different things comes back to the legacy that I'm trying to leave for my family. And I think
Right.
that's critical and important for all the listeners to understand. Your why for what you do is the biggest pivot that you're going to ever have in every aspect. Why do you get up in the morning and put your pants and your shoes on and go out into this world? Why do you work so hard to develop something on a consistent basis? Why do you actually go through all the struggles and stripes and turbulence that you do?
Right.
Well, it's the human experience. It's to have the opportunity to leave a legacy. What does that actually mean, Brian? Well, I, I have to do this, but from a Christian perspective, Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children." That's a very, very powerful statement,
Yeah.
where you're doing what you're doing not for even the people that you're ever going to meet. You might not even meet these people, but you're
Right.
still doing it. Why? Because it's a commandment, one. And two, because your legacy on the inside is that you want to make sure you are positioning your family for the next stage.
This is good.
So I have personally made it my mission to position my family for the next stage on a monthly basis. And I encourage all those to do this as well too. On a monthly basis, I have my entire family do what I call a family discussion. In this family discussion, everything is on the table. Now, who's a part of that? Well, I'm the patriarch of my family at this moment, and I'm a part of it for my generation. My children are a part of it. My wife's parents are a part of it, and all the aunts and uncles and cousins are all a part of it as well too, because we're all doing this wonderful thing called living life.
Yep.
And every one of those households has something that they're dealing with that they might not have an answer for. We just talked about it earlier, Brian,
Right.
where you don't have a
Right.
phone call that you can pick up to have somebody to give you a gut check to say what's going on, when you
Right.
don't have opportunity to present something on the table like, hey, my wife and I are arguing about this, and be open to say, hey, you know what, wife and we're going to put this in front of the family discussion and see and get feedback from everybody else and be okay
Right.
with that. We
Right.
have
Right.
teenagers that we're trying to raise and protect and make sure they're going out into the world the right way, and they have all kinds of issues that you and I never
Oh,
had to worry about whatsoever.
right.
The things that are happening right now are astronomical compared to what we did when we were younger. So all
Hmm.
those things go on the table. So on a personal perspective, from an Albert Butler perspective, to me to share to give to your audience, I offer to do a family meeting and open
This
it
is
up to the
big.
entire family, for everybody to have an opportunity to speak in a safe place. Because that's another thing too. People feel like they're going to be judged. People feel like they're going to
Right.
be looked down upon because they're living life. Well, no, there's no judgment here. This is opportunity to talk and to be better than what you were yesterday.
That's powerful. And creating that safe space and container for those closest people that you love is really important, to be able to allow openness so that
That's
they
right.
can come to you, because if not, you will not know the struggles that they are going through, because they're not going to tell you. They're teenagers. I,
They're not.
I,
They're
I asked my
teenagers.
s-
Yes.
my second, Everett. He's taller than me now. I just have to look up to him. He's 6'4".
Right.
It's like, where did this guy shoot up, bro? For for what is it? 13 years, I talked down to him. Said, I'm always going to be taller than you.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I'm
Not
talking up
anymore.
to him.
Not anymore. That's a
But I'll
blessing,
ask
Brian,
him a
by the way.
question. Oh, so yeah. And I'll ask him a question. He just blankly stares at me. Just being a teenager.
Yeah,
That's it. There's no harm, nothing beyond just, God, I just don't want to answer dad right now.
that's it.
And the problem is they have a coach for a father, and I put my coaching hat on a lot when I'm teaching and sharing life lessons. Guys, the biggest one right now, especially for my oldest, to Levi and Everett, guys, stop living your life 10 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
You are
Yes.
purposely getting marketed to swipe and swipe and stare and swipe and stare, and you're going to look up in 10 years from now and realize, what did I do with myself? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
One of them is watching a show while doing homework, and I'll come in and say, so which one are you doing? Are you actually doing your work, or are you watching the show? Because you can't really do well either one of them. And then, because you're distracted. And then he's taught my daughter. My daughter does it, and she is 10, and she's absolutely horrible at trying to watch a show and do work, like basic
Right.
stuff. It's just like 20 minutes will go by, and she wrote 5 sentences. Like,
Yeah.
girl, we're shutting this down here. You can listen to music, but we need to get the work done, and then we can move on to this. So it's just a certain instill bad habits if I'm not careful, and it's our own doing as a society, and attention, and all this stuff. Going back to even my camera, my phone, there, all those clips, I'm adding to the noise.
Yes.
Oh,
Powerful statement. The noise, and I as another one I share, this called signal versus noise ratio. How much signal
mhm.
are you compared to all the noise all around you? And there's a
Right,
ratio to calculate for that,
right.
of how strong you can push through situations, because
Hmm.
it's everybody wants our attention now. Attention, attention,
Yes,
attention, attention. I mean, everybody's pulling it at you at so many different facets. And if
right.
you can't do this to dial in and focus,
Yep.
wow, you could be taken off all the time. on a
Oh
consistent
yeah, yeah.
basis, you know,
5 seconds
and having
here,
that North
2 minutes
Star just
there.
be able to run through. Yeah. And
Hmm.
you can't because of everybody's
Right,
talking to you and reaching to you and want you to click this and swipe this and
right.
buy this. And it's a
Yep,
lot. It's a
it
lot, man.
is.
I
It
turn
very
it
much is.
off.
Yeah. My wife gave me some Bose noise canceling headphones for Christmas and my birthday is the same time. December 28th is my birthday. So I'm a December baby. But I got
Yes.
those and I actually listen almost exclusively to Hans Zimmer
Mm-hmm.
from doing just uh, cinematic movie music.
Yes.
Batman
I
and
love it. Yes.
Interstellar is a jam, and I like Tron 2 a lot. Those type of soundtracks where it's just this building, this epic, this engaging type of music, and there's no words because I
Yes.
can't tolerate it because it's distracting now. Whereas in the past I would listen to stuff in words, but I can't because it's too much. So I just put on this thing on volume 25%. So it's just there. And it with the noise canceling headphones and that in the background, it literally can go whoop, focus in on what I need to do. As Levi would say, lock in. I can lock
Log
in
in.
on that
Yeah.
to cut out the distraction and stuff. So,
You know, there's a
uh,
there's a neurological study that I was reading about on the your five senses and how it resonates for you for learning and how you have to have a mix to make sure that you can truly learn
mhm,
consistently, and how patterns create the learning mechanism for you to be able to um, gain something internally and really internalize it to use it from a memory perspective.
right,
And they were saying like sight, of course, is always is the first one because we always see things first before we even get to it as the first
right,
step of learning. But hearing is the powerful number two because it connects on an emotional space. But your sense of smell is the one that takes you to a place.
yes,
So if you go to a coffee shop and you sit in the coffee shop and you're listening to a lecture and you're taking notes from that lecture, that is a space to allow you to learn on a hyped up level because the smell
yes,
of the coffee brings you to the space where you learned it at. You hearing connects all of the opportunities of being able to go deep from an emotional perspective, and then your writing is a visual and touch connection to
yep,
write all those
yep,
things out. It gives that holistic learning experience. And I say all that because you mentioned like how your kids will be doing multiple things at one time, but they're not connected. And
right,
it's a break that's taking place from the sensory aspect of it. That if you
right,
can pull it all together and read your notes out loud and hear them and then write them out, you'll just be
right,
able to learn so much better across the board.
yep. Yeah, totally. Even so, anyone listening in, if you have a book you need to read, then you can get the audiobook and listen to it while you read it, and then you have
Yes.
double connection. And then even further now, leveraging technology and AI, you can get yourself a study guide for every single chapter of the book
That's
and
right.
have it fill in the I would like a fill in the blank, the chapter by chapter study guide to be able to go through this book so that I can learn it, read it, and remember it because learning is just your ability to recall the information quickly. And the number of reps and sets you go in terms of learning and being able to soak in all of the sensory and the things that we're just talking about allows you to recall things faster, quicker, and easier. And if you're distracted and it's disjointed, then you're not going to remember anything because it was just a breeze passing by in a sense, and you'll forget that.
So it's interesting, Brian, that you just used the words reps and sets. Because think about if you go into the gym and you got to go lift, that
Yeah.
muscle memory in that workout movement helps drive that muscle to have a to be able to tear up in a way that it can be rebuilt the next day to
Yeah.
go and try to do it again. Same thing for your mind. Exact same thing. There's a it's
Yeah.
although the brain is a big ball of fat, the synaptic nerves of how everything lines up is still the same flexing that you need to do to train your
Right.
brain to have the neural pathways to make
Right.
all these things come together as well too. So you are 100% correct. Certain books you can get a book and then get the audio book and then listen to it and then read it at the same time, and
Yeah.
you'll be amazed at how much of it sticks and resonates
Right.
inside of you that you can recall quickly.
Yep. I love that. On episode 85 with Brad, he's a jet fighter pilot that we talked about. He brought up because he also owns Swing Sesh, which is a playground equipment for like
Hmm.
your backyard to have for your kids to play on, but then also you work out. So it's just this like CrossFit style rack set, pull up wall ball thing and dips and jumps onto the platform and a rack built into the side. It's really sweet swing sesh. But he was talking about, and I've heard this before too, is that when you exercise before you go to a learning environment, you actually are even more receptive to learning
Yes.
and grabbing onto that information, be able to memorize and recall it a lot faster. So it's just another recent conversation here that I had with someone that brought that one up. I hadn't talked about that yet on the podcast, but it's worth referencing and bringing up in our conversation here. So you
Yes.
can really stack the deck on your level of learning, especially in our age. A lot of guys might have the mindset of can't teach an old dog new tricks, and that's just not true. And
That's
you
not
need
true.
that mind plasticity and that ability to be able to learn at a quick rate now, or you will get left behind. You will be like grandpa here in 5 years that what is this thing that you carry around in your hand? Like, I don't
Right.
know what it is. I talk to people and I'm connected to the wall.
That's
It's
right.
just you're getting left behind here. So you
Brian,
you
that's so
have
that's
to
so
have.
that's so interesting, man. Because I'll be very honest and be open. Was so against social media because
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
feel
We
like
mentioned that in
it
our
yes it just
pre-call.
pulls you in and it's so hard to
Mm-hmm.
get out. But
Yeah.
being a creator on the other side of it is a different piece because you're putting something out into the world. But the
Right.
consumption of it, you get so trapped in scrolling and scrolling and
Yeah.
scrolling and scrolling. In the beginning, when everything was really kicking off for social media, I was so against it. I would not get a Facebook page or none of those. I
Yeah.
would not get on it whatsoever. And I would tell my kids and my wife, like, that thing is just going to ruin your mind. Talking like old grandpa, that's going to just ruin your mind. You don't need that type of stuff. But
Right.
then I realized that it is the true gateway to the way the world is going now. And as a business owner, you do need to be on social media. That's just the reality of things.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be on it, a part of that whole IT infrastructure that I mentioned earlier, you need to understand it. You need to be able to
Yep.
flex it. You need to dig into it and study it to become better at it every single day. So
It is a
I
part
was
of the
getting ready to be that.
operations.
That's you got to know it, and it's going to be a
Yep.
part of your operations. And I was
Right.
getting ready to be that old grandpa, but then I realized I had to do a hard pivot, and
Yep.
now I am all over social media, every aspect of
Uh-huh.
it.
I have learned a lot. And I didn't know what B-roll was. And
I didn't
I know what
either.
B-roll is.
I didn't know. I didn't know, but now
What's
I
a great
know.
how do you do a green screen? Yep, that's just common.
That's
I'm
it.
not to the knowledge base or the experience of the more complicated editing because that takes a lot more time, energy, and
Takes
effort, and
time.
even more
Yes.
software and the operations piece. And that's where you'd want to delegate that type of stuff. I can get into my edits app for Instagram and post something up, and it works.
Yeah.
But it's not to the higher level degree. Mr. Beast ruined all of us with his high his $1 million per video or more. Like, dude, you're
Hmm.
ruining it for us, man. But
But
one thing I heard just the other day is that it's not social media, it's just media now. It's just
it's
an
just media.
extension of
Yes.
media, and it's your personal brand, and it's your ability to develop attention and be able to then turn it into something. And you know who Alex Ramosi is. I've followed him for a long time.
Yes.
I remembered him from 10 years ago, and then he went into some different businesses that weren't so eye catching. And he was in my industry back in with Gym Launch, but then he popped out again a couple years ago. It's like, wait a minute, that's the gym guy with the mustache thing, and I
Right.
remember him. And all of a sudden, you just can't get rid of him. But
Yeah.
he talks a couple huge things. One about the connected to learning and to be able to block out a lot of stuff. That's where the noise canceling headphones and the quiet music and being able to lock in there. That's where create more than you consume. That's where you see these massive amounts of ability done on a very large scale, that he's to be able to do the basics because of those five muscles. He leads, but he also knows such a significant amount of other things in his repertoire around his abilities and skill sets and stuff. It doesn't help that he didn't have any kids. I mean, give him 4 kids too, right, Albert? And then let's see
I
him
think he
slow down
has
a little bit.
kids. No, I think he does have kids.
He does. I would
Yeah,
have
I
to.
actually read one of his books and he was talking about either him having kids. I think he does have kids, actually.
I don't know, because even in his Tony Robbins interview that he had recently, there was no reference. Tony said something about it, and there's no acknowledgement
Really?
of kids. Yeah, which that in and of itself, watch, that was a masterpiece of coaching at a high level in and of
Mm,
itself. But I digress on that. But going back to these five things, and it matters around being able to study, being able to learn, be able to, and
yes,
all
right.
these things then help us create health and then ultimately wealth. Let's tie back into wealth as we start to wrap up. What are some simple takeaway strategies that maybe you're talking to Brian as a business owner, you're talking to the other business owners because they're really good at what they do, but they
Yes.
might not have some of the understanding of finance, of money, of accounting, and that's not their strong suit. So what are some simple takeaways, things that they can learn and pull away from our conversation here?
Brian, so this is the biggest piece of it. One thing about my practice that I truly love and why I do what I do is that I take an individual who has an idea that wants to go do something, and I pull them into my office. I put them on a blackboard, and we walk through your whys and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
And when you find out the true whys of why they're doing it, then you can really dive into being able to flex those five muscles the right way. The
Right.
biggest piece of it, people say, well, I want to make a lot of money. Okay, why you want to make a lot of money?
Right.
That's where the rubber really meets the road. And then they have to say, well, I want to do vacations and I want to do like, so you want to have a leisure life then? Is that why you're going to, so think about it. You're going to put all this effort into something just so you can go on vacation? Well, you don't need to do a business to do that. You can go and just work for somebody and do that.
Right.
So why you really
Yeah,
want to
get a
do
remote
this?
job and
Yes.
off you go. You could
Yes.
work in some place and check out, sign off, and go hang out on the beach for a couple hours.
If that's your
Why get a
why,
business? Because it's a lot more work than that.
because guess what, Brian, as you have found out, being an entrepreneur is hard. This is not this is if you when you decide you want to do this, you got to have a real
Thick
strong purpose for
skin.
why you're going into it
Hmm.
because there are going to be days when I spend a lot of time just making sure I can make payroll. It's huge,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
huge.
one that's going to be one reason the for Brian himself, one of the hesitations of moving forward and creating more of those five levers to be able to pull on. And I know I need leverage, but I don't want the extra financial responsibility for other people that I have to take care of. And next thing you know, I go from making, I can make 10K a month and be just fine, to now I have to make 20K a month to make sure I pay bills
Keep going.
and keep these. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
That's
goes up
right.
from
It
there, right?
goes
I
up.
mean, you're in
It
a
goes up.
CPA thing. I can hire out a little bit more, but honestly, I think about this is if I want someone that's qualified and that will stay with me for a foreseeable future, not indefinitely, because that's not what the
It's not.
the
Yeah.
job market looks like anymore. But can I get this person, develop them, and they stay with me a couple of years, and they're my right hand man or their man on the team or a woman on the team? Can I get them to be able to facilitate? I'm going to have to pay
You're going to pay.
pretty around 6 figures to be
Yes.
able to keep that person engaged, entertained, and be able to offer a lot of growth. But then I'm going to get offer so much skill development that they'll leave at some point.
And
I'm
that's
like, well,
okay.
it is
That's
okay.
okay.
It
It's
is.
okay.
It is.
What I do,
Right.
I tell folks all the time, I don't give jobs. No, I
Right.
don't do that. I offer you a career
Right.
that has the potential for you to become a business owner. That's very, very powerful. And it's
Yes.
powerful because it connects to their why. of
Right.
why they're coming in to come and do this. It connects
Hmm.
with their purpose. It connects with their walk,
Yeah.
their talk. And when you carve it up that way, it's not about the money. And you have to make sure that you remove money from the table in these all these
Right.
conversations, because I want your audience to really resonate with this. Money is just a tool to
Yes.
acquire resources. That's it.
Right. Yep.
That's it. And if you are doing something just to make money, you are missing the picture.
Right.
You are missing it completely, because you can make all the money in the world and then one day they can say that fiat currency that you just made is worthless.
Yeah.
A dollar today is worth less, is worth more than a dollar tomorrow. That's a
Yes.
fact. You can look at the
Very
price of
much.
gold right now and you can see how much it is ramped up compared to the US dollar. So don't do what you do for money. Do what you do for purpose. And
Yes.
when you do what you do for purpose, there's an energy, there's a brightness, there's a
Hmm.
magnetic force that's going to resonate all over you. That those
Yep.
same people that you want to come and work with you, they're going to want to come work with you,
Yeah.
because they're going to see something in you that they want to see inside themselves. And that's what's going to make them want to dive in, roll their sleeves up, and build something great.
Yep. Yep.
Remove the money, focus on the purpose.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. That's what I actually had a conversation the last week with the alumni, the one of the school head director of communications, and said Brian has a lot going on. He's got a lot of opportunity to be able to create opportunities for the person that comes on board from
Yes.
just the sheer value. You saw there's 20 different reels that this person could do something with that were just created, and me just talking to myself on my computer. I
Yes.
need something done with those. So how can you take this information and this content and create something bigger, better to attract the outcome, which is helping people? At the end of the day, that's what this whole podcast is about, is attracting the person that I can help. And I have done it multiple times where they will show up on my door. I heard you on your podcast and I really resonated. And
Yes.
the outcomes at episode 60, I had three guys during the holidays. They lost 98 pounds through October,
Wow.
November, December in the 100-day Call to Rise challenge, because they heard the podcast and they resonated and they were the right fit for Brian and what he does and how he does it. And we made magic together. And
Mm.
it's not just, oh, I lost it cutting out carbs or something. No, we had the holiday cookies and the Christmas feast and all that stuff, but we did it in a way that created lifestyle, that created success long term. And so that's something that I was describing in that internship process with the head lead. It's like there's a lot of opportunity here. Doing social medias, I'm running ads, I've got a podcast, I'm doing email
Yes.
marketing, I've got lead magnets, I've got a lot of opportunity here for someone that is ready to roll their sleeves up and get to it.
Yes. And I think I'll go one step further for you from a pitch perspective. You use that five muscles, because you
Yeah.
every business needs that. And when you plug that in, what it's going to do for you, Brian, is that you get to do what you love to do. You get to have these
Yeah.
conversations. You get to help people. You really get
Yes.
to help people. You're not worrying about posting stuff and
Right.
worried about the sales side of things, and what all that stuff should be taken care of by somebody else or some other AI tool
Yeah.
to be able to push that
Yep.
for you. And then you get to do what you do best. And that's what's going to grow the business, because you're walking
Hmm.
in your purpose.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, I feel that quite a bit. I resonate with that 100 ton.
Awesome.
Ooh, this is a good
It's a
episode.
lot. Yeah, it's a lot,
It
man.
is a
It's a
lot,
lot.
a lot of good stuff. So everyone listen in. It goes back to tying into the beginning of health as wealth, and it circles around. And you have to understand your why. You have to understand the situation where you're at in this season of life. There's a lot of change, and change can be for the better, and it should be. And you should be looking forward to the change of 40 to 60. And life is a journey. And if you can then appreciate the journey of what this life is, then you have a positive outcome attached to all the challenge and the turbulence and the wind that's blowing and trying to uproot your whole purpose and your life, and leave it in devastation if you're not careful. And with weak roots, trees fall over and they crash into houses and such.
That's
And you
it.
don't want that. And taking care of your health is the first and foremost thing that you need to do, because you can have all the money in the world and it doesn't matter because you're dead. Or
That's it.
that heart attack costs 6 figures to take care of, not necessarily because insurance didn't cover, but the amount of loss, the amount of emotion, the amount of challenge that you have to face for the next foreseeable future could be pretty impacting on the people around you. Have a heart attack and be, paraplegic or something, that, or slur your speech, or you can't return to work. That's more than a 6-figure loss
That's
in a
it.
sense. It's significant, and we don't want that. And so I hope that you listening in heard Albert's story and some of the things that we had talked about, and how it can get you to do the next thing that's best for you, best for your family. One of the most powerful things you said was the family meeting. I really liked that quite a bit, and something that I need to consider in mind, because our family is busy and we don't have someone else to guide that. And if we don't
Yes.
slow, my wife and I don't show connection and stability in that, and being able to have open lines of communication with our kids 10 years from now, when they're 26 and 25 and 22 and 20, they're going to get slapped around by life a lot more than they necessarily needed to, because we weren't able to help problem solve, troubleshoot, or even at the very least leave an open line of communication, so
To
that they
just let them
know that they
talk.
can come to
Yes.
us in challenging times and not have shame or guilt or judgment, but be able to accept that, hey, I love you regardless of whatever you did or whatever's happening, and I'm here to help roll my sleeves up and figure a solution out. Huh, very good. What's
It's
one
powerful,
parting thing
Brian.
you'd say to everyone, Albert?
Before I go, I do have to let everybody
Yeah.
know I did write a
Oh
book.
yeah.
Did write a book
Yes.
about
Share all
all
the
this wonderful
goods.
stuff. That's right. It's
Okay.
called Life: Truth, Love, Loss,
Live.
Success, and Failure. Any and all things that we've casually talked about today, Brian. It's coming from here. It's coming from my heart.
Excellent.
And when I wrote this book is a journey of a 17-year process that I was traveling a lot, and I'm flying over the Pacific Ocean. And I think to myself, I just had my baby girl, and I had an 18-month-old son. I'm like, if something was to happen to me, who would be there to give my children fatherly advice?
Right.
And this book is just that. This is my testament of that. And the book is packed with scripture, it's packed with quotes, but it's also packed with stories of how I
Yeah.
became who I am today. And at the end of each chapter gives a final advice for individuals to read, and it's very short, and you can take it with you, and it can help you govern yourself through every aspect of different parts of life. So it's available on Amazon. The audio
Yes.
book is available as well too on Audible. The ebook is available on Kindle as well. So highly recommend it. As biased as I might be, I highly recommend it. So if you like what you
Right.
heard today, you're gonna love life.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's exactly what we want, is to love life and experience it to its absolute fullest, because you're in the driver's seat and you can make that happen. That can be your present reality of what you experience every day. Anything else that we need to drop will be in the show notes, links to these things. And anything else?
The other thing I would say, that because life can be turbulent, like we talked about, you have to have your own internal motivation as well too. I don't like to lean on motivation too much, because motivation comes and it goes, but there are
Right.
moments
Of
when you
course.
need to bear down and grit your teeth and say, I can because I will. I will because I can. I don't say can't because I can.
Right. Right.
That is a quote that is coming out of the book of life, is one that I created from a conversation with my dad, and is one that I want to share with your audience, that you can because you will, no matter what it might be.
Yes. Love it. And we can wrap on that. If the conversation that we had with Albert, and you're a business owner or aspiring business person that wants to get into entrepreneurship and start flexing those 5 leadership muscles, reach out. We'll have his his website there, social handles, and you can start a conversation with Albert about those different types of muscles that need flexed as well to be able to be successful. And the whole point of uh, business and entrepreneurship is to create a lifestyle and not just create a job for yourself. And
That's right.
he clearly exhibits that he knows and understands and has had a lot of conversation with a lot of people over a long time, that he can help shape your why into something that's really purposeful, that gets you up out of bed, and you can navigate the wind because you have deep roots on why you're doing it in the first place.
That's right.
All right. Well, we're
Brian,
wrapping
thank you,
up
sir.
today. Thanks so much for the excellent conversation. I knew from our very first call that this would be wonderful, and it's exceeded my expectations. So thank you so much for your time today, and I appreciate it so much. And everyone listening in, thanks for listening to this episode of Driven for Health.